My beloved child, do not close this message yet. Do not make the call. Do not send the final text. Do not pack the last box or walk away from the place you have been carrying in prayer. Before you take another step, stop and listen to me. The restlessness you have felt lately is real, but it may not mean what you think it means. You have been telling yourself that perhaps you are tired because the season is over. You have wondered whether the silence means I have changed my mind. You have looked at what you have built, what you have waited for, and what you have protected through difficult years. And something inside you has whispered that leaving would finally bring relief. My beloved child, relief and direction are not always the same thing. A tired heart can mistake escape for wisdom. A wounded mind can call withdrawal peace, simply because it no longer wants to feel pressure. That is why I am asking you to pause before you turn exhaustion into a permanent decision. Stay where you are long enough to hear clearly. I am not telling you to remain in danger. I am not asking you to stay where you are being abused, threatened, controlled, or harmed. Safety matters, truth matters, wise counsel matters. But when the place is not dangerous, when the real issue is disappointment, delay, comparison, or fatigue, do not let one heavy week erase years of faithful preparation. My beloved child, the urge to leave often becomes loudest after you have already survived the hardest part. Think about your own journey. You endured the season when no one understood you. You kept going when your effort produced little evidence. You continued praying when answers seemed far away. You remained faithful through rejection, loneliness, confusion, and slow progress. Yet now, after all that endurance, the desire to quit has become stronger. Why now? Why did this voice not convince you when the road was darker? Why did it wait until you had learned, matured, and become more prepared? My beloved child, sometimes the final pressure is not proof that the path is wrong. Sometimes it reveals how deeply fatigue has entered your body and how urgently you need rest, clarity, and discernment. Do not worship the pressure. Do not obey it simply because it is loud. You have also noticed that your environment seems to be speaking the same message. Someone mentions a new city. An old opportunity returns with a different appearance. A familiar room begins to feel too small. The life you once prayed to build suddenly feels ordinary. Be careful. Not every repeated idea is confirmation. Sometimes your attention is searching for evidence that matches the decision your exhaustion already wants to make. Bring every impression into the light. Ask whether the direction produces steady peace or only immediate excitement. Ask whether it agrees with Scripture, wisdom, responsibility, and healthy fruit. Ask whether trusted people who know your whole story see clarity or only urgency. My beloved child, underneath the noise there may still be a quiet knowing that has not moved. It does not shout, it does not flatter you, it does not promise an easy road. It simply reminds you that you have not yet received clear permission to abandon what you were called to tend. Pay attention to that quieter voice. Remember Noah. He continued building while the sky gave no visible support to the instruction he had received. Day after day, the work looked unreasonable to those around him. Yet his responsibility was not to control the weather. His responsibility was to complete the work placed before him with obedience and care. My beloved child, I am not asking you to force a dead plan back to life. I am asking you to stop long enough to know whether the plan is truly dead or whether you are simply tired of tending it. There is a difference. A closed season produces clear fruit over time. It may come with repeated counsel, changed circumstances, lost peace, and a new direction that can be named. Temporary exhaustion produces urgency without clarity. It says, leave now, decide now, escape now, but it cannot tell you what a faithful next step should be. Do not confuse those voices. My beloved child, for the next few moments, put down the decision. Let your shoulders relax. Take one slow breath. You do not need to solve your whole future tonight. You only need enough stillness to hear the next honest instruction. Perhaps the instruction will be to rest. Perhaps it will be to ask for help. Perhaps it will be to repair something you have neglected. Perhaps it will be to set a boundary. Perhaps after prayer and wise counsel, it will be to leave. But let the decision come from truth, not panic. My beloved child, I know how long you have stood. I know the prayers you stopped explaining, because no one seemed to understand. I know how often you questioned whether your faithfulness mattered. It mattered. Every hidden act of obedience shaped you. Every small decision taught you something. Every disappointment revealed where your hope had become attached to one specific outcome instead of to me. Nothing honest has been wasted. Even the days that seemed empty were teaching your hands how to carry responsibility without applause, certainty, or immediate visible reward. In this message, I will show you why the desire to leave can arrive so late, how comparison and fatigue disguise themselves as guidance, and what it means to stand guard without becoming passive. You will learn how to protect your daily faithfulness, your words, and the clarity of your mind. You will learn how to recognize healthy opportunities without calling every knock a promise. You will learn how to rest without abandoning your position, and how to move when redirection becomes clear. My beloved child, do not decide from the loudest feeling in the room. Pause, pray, look at the fruit. Seek wisdom, then move only when truth becomes steadier than fear. For now, hold your position. Write, "I am staying long enough to hear clearly" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words mean that you will not run from temporary pressure, ignore real danger, or force yourself to remain where wisdom says to leave. You are choosing discernment. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will help you recognize the 3 signs that reveal whether your restlessness is guidance, exhaustion, or fear wearing the voice of wisdom. My beloved child, in the last part I asked you to pause before turning temporary exhaustion into a permanent decision. Now I want to help you recognize the 3 signs that often appear when restlessness is trying to speak louder than truth. The first sign is the timing of your doubt. For a long time you carried this assignment without much evidence. You kept showing up when the work felt invisible. You prayed when answers seemed delayed. You endured misunderstanding, rejection, slow progress, and seasons when no one could explain why you still believed. Yet the strongest desire to leave did not come then. It came later. It arrived after you had already survived what once looked impossible. It appeared after you had learned lessons, developed endurance, and become more prepared than you were at the beginning. My beloved child, notice that timing. Late doubt can feel intelligent because it speaks calmly. It may say, "Perhaps I misunderstood everything. Perhaps I have wasted these years. Perhaps it is finally time to be realistic." But a calm tone does not automatically make a thought wise. Sometimes fatigue has stopped shouting because it has learned how to sound reasonable. Ask yourself why the thought became persuasive now. Did new facts appear? Did the fruit clearly change? Did trusted counsel confirm a different direction? Or did the thought rise because you have been carrying too much without enough rest? My beloved child, this is not an invitation to ignore evidence. A plan may need to change, a season may truly end, but genuine redirection becomes clearer as it is examined. Fear usually demands a decision before questions can be asked. Remember David when he returned to Ziklag and found the city burned. The people around him were grieving, angry, and ready to blame him. He could have reacted from the weight of the moment. Instead, Scripture says he strengthened himself in the Lord and then asked what he should do. He did not make pain his commander. My beloved child, when doubt appears late, strengthen yourself before you interpret it. Sleep if you are exhausted. Eat, pray honestly. Write down the facts. Speak with someone mature who is not impressed by urgency. Then listen again. The second sign is that your environment begins to echo the same invitation to escape. Suddenly, every conversation seems connected to leaving. Someone describes another city, and your imagination races ahead. An old opportunity returns. A stranger speaks about starting over. A social media post makes another life look easier than yours. Even familiar rooms may feel different. The walls seem smaller. The routine feels heavier. What once gave you stability begins to feel like confinement. My beloved child, do not assume that repeated messages are always confirmation. The human mind notices what matches its current concern. When you are thinking about departure, you may begin collecting every image, sentence, and coincidence that supports it. This does not mean those details are meaningless. It means they must be tested. Ask what the environment is actually revealing. Is it showing that you need a healthier rhythm? Is it exposing a relationship that repeatedly violates safety or truth? Is it reminding you that your gifts require development? Or is it simply feeding the fantasy that a different location will remove every internal burden? My beloved child, changing places can change circumstances, but it cannot automatically heal what travels inside you. If you carry unprocessed fear, comparison, resentment, or impulsiveness, those things can unpack their bags at the next address. Before you move outward, ask what needs attention inward. Remember the Israelites in the wilderness. At difficult moments, they imagined Egypt as better than it had been. Distance softened their memory. They remembered food but forgot bondage. Restlessness can do the same. It can edit the past and decorate the unknown. That is why you must examine the whole picture. Do not compare the hardest details of your present life with the most attractive details of another possibility. Seek facts. Count the cost. Consider your responsibilities. Look for healthy fruit. My beloved child, true direction can withstand careful examination. It does not collapse when you pray, ask questions, consult wise people, or wait long enough for excitement to settle. The third sign is the quiet knowing beneath the noise. While one part of you wants to leave immediately, another part remains still. It does not argue. It does not make dramatic promises. It simply says that you have not yet received a clear release. This knowing may be easy to overlook because it is not emotional. It does not compete with every fearful thought. It feels more like a lamp burning in a distant window, small, steady, and difficult to extinguish. My beloved child, pay attention to what remains after the emotional wave passes. When you have slept, prayed, spoken honestly, and allowed the pressure to settle, what truth is still standing? Do you still sense responsibility toward what has been placed in your hands? Is there still meaningful fruit, even if it is smaller than you hoped? Does the thought of abandoning everything bring lasting peace, or only temporary relief, followed by grief? These questions matter. My beloved child, the quiet knowing is not permission to remain trapped in harm. If you are being abused, threatened, controlled, or placed in danger, seek safety and trustworthy support. Wisdom does not require you to prove faith through suffering that destroys you. But when the issue is weariness rather than danger, silence rather than clear closure, and disappointment rather than corruption, do not dismiss the quiet voice because it lacks drama. Remember Paul during the storm at sea. The circumstances looked hopeless. The ship was driven by wind, the crew lost confidence, and every visible sign suggested disaster. Yet Paul carried a steadier word within him. He did not deny the storm. He gave practical instructions, encouraged the people to eat, and told them what had been revealed. Faith did not make him careless. It made him clear. My beloved child, that is what I want for you. Not blind attachment, not stubborn refusal to change. Clear, grounded discernment. Bring the three signs together. Notice whether doubt arrives suspiciously late. Notice whether your environment is feeding escape without giving clear direction. Notice whether a quiet conviction remains after fear settles. Then do not rush. Let time test the message. Let Scripture test it. Let wise counsel test it. Let the fruit of the decision test it. You do not need to call every restless feeling an attack. You also do not need to obey every restless feeling as guidance. You can pause between the feeling and the decision. That pause is where wisdom often becomes audible. Clarity grows when you stop running long enough to hear what pressure was hiding. Write "I will listen" beneath the noise in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words mean that you will respect your feelings without allowing them to control you. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will take you back to the beginning and help you remember why you chose the unusual path before exhaustion made you question it. My beloved child, in the last part, I showed you how to listen beneath the noise and recognize what your restlessness may be trying to say. Now I want to take you back before fatigue and comparison. I want you to remember why you chose this path in the first place. You were never drawn only to what was easy, predictable, or approved by everyone around you. Even when you were young, there was something in you that noticed more than others seemed to notice. You could feel when a room carried pain. You could sense when a person was hiding behind a smile. You were moved by questions that others rarely asked. My beloved child, that sensitivity was not always comfortable. Sometimes it made you feel different. Sometimes it made ordinary success feel incomplete. You could achieve something and still wonder whether your life was meant to carry a deeper purpose. You tried to fit into paths that looked sensible. You followed advice. You made practical decisions. You told yourself that wanting more meaning was unrealistic. But the ache still remained for many long years. It was not always a desire for attention or fame. Often it was quieter than that. It was the feeling that your life was meant to become deeply useful. You wanted what you had suffered to help someone. You wanted what you had learned to become wisdom. You wanted your work to carry honesty, healing service, or courage. My beloved child, that desire shaped choices few understood. You said no to opportunities that offered comfort but asked you to become smaller. You walked away from approval when it required you to betray what you knew was true. You continued learning when no one promised that the effort would be rewarded. Some of those choices cost you. They cost time, they cost money, they cost relationships, they cost easy explanations. My beloved child, do not romanticize every difficult choice. Not every sacrifice was necessary. Some decisions were made from fear, pride, or inexperience. There are things you would do differently now, but imperfect choices do not erase the sincere desire beneath the journey. You were trying to live truthfully with the understanding you had. Remember Abraham when he was told to leave what was familiar without receiving every detail about where the road would lead. His obedience did not make every step easy. He faced uncertainty, made mistakes, and sometimes acted from fear. Yet his life kept returning to the invitation to trust the one who called him. My beloved child, your unusual path may not involve leaving a country or building something visible to the world. It may involve caring for a family when no one applauds you. It may involve creating honest work in a field filled with shortcuts. It may involve healing patterns that have repeated through generations. It may involve refusing to become cruel after being wounded. Do not measure the significance of your path only by how impressive it looks. A quiet act of integrity can redirect a household. A healthy boundary can protect a child. A patient conversation can interrupt years of bitterness. A faithful piece of work can serve people you may never meet. My beloved child, the path became difficult because meaningful work usually asks for more than excitement. It asks for repetition. At first, the vision felt alive. You could imagine the outcome. You believed that passion would carry you. Then came the ordinary days. You had to continue without applause. You had to practice when inspiration was absent. You had to make decisions while uncertain. You had to carry responsibility after the emotional energy of beginning had faded. This is where many people turn toward a new path, not because the first one was wrong, but because the new one has not yet become ordinary. My beloved child, every beginning shines. Every long journey eventually becomes daily work. Do not confuse familiarity with failure. The fact that your assignment no longer feels dramatic may mean you have lived beside it long enough for it to become part of your character. Look back honestly. What have you learned because you stayed? Are you more patient than you were? Do you understand people more deeply? Can you recognize pressure, manipulation, and fear sooner? Have you developed skills that once seemed beyond you? Have you learned to recover after disappointment without destroying everything around you? These are signs that the road has been shaping you, even when it has not yet produced the result you expected. My beloved child, you may also discover that the original dream has matured. What you wanted at the beginning may not be what you want now. Perhaps you once wanted recognition, but now you want usefulness. Perhaps you wanted to prove people wrong, but now you want peace. Perhaps you wanted a fast result, but now you want something honest enough to last. This does not mean the path was false. It may mean the purpose has been purified. Let the dream change where wisdom requires it. Release the parts built from ego, revenge, or the need to be seen. Keep the part that still produces love, truth, responsibility, and service. My beloved child, ask yourself what remains when fantasy is removed. What part of this calling would you still choose if no one praised you? What work would still matter if it grew slowly? What truth would you still protect if it cost approval? Your answers may reveal the real path beneath the version you once imagined. Do not stay because you are afraid to admit a mistake. Do not leave because you are tired of being misunderstood. Stay or move because you have examined the fruit. Bring the journey into prayer. Bring it to wise people who can tell you the truth without controlling your decision. Consider your health, safety, family responsibilities, and the evidence in front of you. My beloved child, calling and wisdom are not enemies. Faith does not require you to ignore reality. It teaches you to look at reality without allowing fear to become your only interpreter. You may need to adjust the method while keeping the mission. You may need to change the schedule, seek training, ask for support, or release an approach that no longer serves the purpose. A river can change direction around a stone without forgetting where it is going. My beloved child, remember the moments when you knew why this mattered. Remember the person who was helped by something you shared. Remember the day you chose honesty when deception would have been easier. Remember the quiet peace that came when you acted in alignment with what you believed. Those moments do not guarantee a particular outcome, but they remind you that the journey has already produced meaning. Write "I remember why I began" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words call you back to purpose without trapping you inside an outdated plan. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you what your hidden years were building beneath the surface, and why roots often grow strongest when nothing above the ground appears to move. My beloved child, in the last part I asked you to remember why you began and what still remains after disappointment has stripped away the fantasy. Now I want to show you what those hidden years were building beneath the surface while you thought nothing was moving. You saw the same ground, you saw the same routine, you saw unanswered questions, but beneath what your eyes could measure, roots were working. A tree does not become strong because it changes locations every season. It becomes strong because it remains long enough for its roots to move through resistance. They push past dry soil, they bend around stone, they search for water that cannot be seen from above. My beloved child, that is what your hidden season has been doing in you. You thought you were only waiting. You were learning how to endure uncertainty without losing your character. You were learning how to keep a promise when no one was checking. You were learning how to work without praise and how to pray without demanding instant proof. Those lessons were roots. Every time you returned after disappointment, another root went deeper. Every time you chose honesty when a shortcut was available, another root found strength. Every time you admitted that you needed help instead of pretending to know everything, you became more stable. My beloved child, roots grow in darkness. That does not mean darkness is always good. Some environments are harmful and should not be endured. But there are also hidden seasons that are not punishment. They are places where growth happens beyond applause, comparison, and performance. You could not build these roots while watching who noticed. You needed quiet, you needed repetition, you needed days when the work itself had to become enough. Remember Moses in the wilderness before he returned to Egypt. He had once lived near power. Then he spent years tending animals in a place that seemed far removed from the purpose he would later carry. Those years were not empty. The wilderness taught him patience. It taught him how to notice movement across difficult ground. It taught him how to care for vulnerable lives and how to continue when the landscape offered little excitement. My beloved child, the place that felt too small may have been training capacities the next season requires. You learned how to listen before speaking. You learned how to recognize pressure. You learned that a loud voice is not always a trustworthy voice. You learned how quickly fear can dress itself as urgency. You also learned your limits. That knowledge is not weakness. A shallow root system believes strength means never needing rest counsel or support. A deeper root system understands that survival depends on receiving what is necessary. Trees receive rain. Fields receive seasons. People receive grace through prayer, community wisdom, sleep, and practical help. My beloved child, one of the deepest roots you developed was discernment. At the beginning, you may have called every open door an answer. You may have trusted enthusiasm without examining character. You may have believed that difficulty always meant opposition and ease always meant favor. Experience corrected you. You discovered that some doors open into confusion. Some delays protect you. Some opportunities appeal to your insecurity more than your purpose. Some people praise your gift while weakening your peace. Now you ask questions. What fruit is growing here? What will this choice require for my health, family, integrity, and time? Can this opportunity survive prayer, facts, counsel, and patience? My beloved child, those questions are roots holding you steady before the wind arrives. Another root was discipline. You learned that work cannot depend entirely on emotion. Inspiration may begin a project, but consistency carries it through ordinary days. You learned to return when you did not feel powerful. You learned to finish small tasks. You learned to prepare before opportunity appeared. You learned to keep developing the gift when no one had promised you a platform. These habits may have seemed unimpressive, but they were building capacity. A branch can only carry fruit that the roots and trunk are strong enough to support. My beloved child, you have sometimes asked why the visible result did not arrive sooner. Part of the answer may be that receiving is not the same as carrying. A person can receive attention before having the humility to handle it. A person can receive money before developing the wisdom to manage it. A person can receive influence before learning how to protect others from their wounds. I was not only preparing something for you, I was preparing you to carry it without allowing it to destroy what matters. That preparation included correction. There were times when your motives had to be purified. You wanted to prove people wrong. You wanted success to silence those who dismissed you. You wanted an outcome to repair your identity. My beloved child, I did not shame you for those desires. I brought them into the light. Over time, the need to impress began losing its power. You became more interested in building something useful than appearing important. You began wanting peace more than revenge, and integrity more than applause. That change was a root. You also learned that setbacks do not require total destruction. In earlier seasons, one failure may have made you abandon the whole field. One criticism may have convinced you that you had no gift. One closed door may have felt like a verdict over your future. Now you recover differently. You grieve. You examine what happened. You correct what belongs to you. You rest. Then you continue with more wisdom. My beloved child, resilience is not the refusal to feel pain. It is the ability to remain truthful while pain moves through you. The roots were also building compassion. Because you know what waiting feels like, you can recognize it in someone else. Because you have faced uncertainty, you are slower to judge people whose progress is not visible. Because you have needed mercy, you can offer correction without humiliation. Your hidden years have made you capable of carrying people more gently, but compassion does not mean rescuing everyone. Roots also taught you boundaries. A healthy tree gives shade without pulling itself out of the ground for every traveler. You can love without abandoning your assignment. You can help without becoming controlled by guilt. You can remain kind while saying no. My beloved child, look again at the years you called wasted. Can you see what they built? Patience, discernment, discipline, humility, boundaries, compassion, the ability to begin again. These qualities are not decorations. They are the underground structure of a life that can remain standing when visibility, pressure, responsibility, and change arrive. Write "My roots were building strength" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that hidden growth is still growth, and quiet preparation is not the same as abandonment. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you why a waiting season and an arrival season can feel almost identical, and how to recognize when the work beneath the surface is beginning to change what happens above it. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you what your hidden years were building beneath the surface. Now, I want to help you recognize something many people misunderstand. A waiting season and an arrival season can feel almost the same. Both can be quiet. Both can feel slow. Both can contain uncertainty. That is why you must learn to notice the difference without forcing a conclusion. In a waiting season, much of the work is still happening inside you. Your habits are being corrected. Your motives are being purified. Your strength is being tested. You are learning to remain faithful before the visible result appears. My beloved child, waiting often asks you to keep preparing. It may ask you to study, practice, heal, organize, forgive, or become more responsible. It may expose the places where you still depend too heavily on approval. It may reveal the fears that make you rush. Waiting is not empty. It is active preparation. An arrival season is different. The foundation has already been laid. The inner work is not finished because growth never truly stops, but enough has changed for movement to begin around you. The conversation starts. The introduction appears. The need you are prepared to meet becomes visible. The door does not always open fully, but the handle begins to turn. My beloved child, arrival is often quieter than people expect. You may imagine that a changing season will come with unmistakable excitement, but many arrivals begin with ordinary details. A person remembers your name. A message comes at an unexpected time. Someone asks a question connected to the very skill you developed in private. A problem appears that your years of preparation have taught you how to solve. Do not overlook the ordinary because you were expecting thunder. Remember Samuel as a young boy in the temple. When he first heard his name, he did not immediately understand what was happening. He thought Eli had called him. The moment was sacred, but it sounded familiar enough to be misunderstood. My beloved child, some new seasons begin that way. They sound like an ordinary conversation. They look like a small responsibility. They arrive through something you could easily dismiss. That is why discernment matters more than excitement. The difference between waiting and arrival is not always found in how strongly you feel. It is often found in what begins to change around your faithful preparation. In a waiting season, you may be learning a skill without knowing where it will be used. In an arrival season, someone begins asking for that skill. In a waiting season, you may be healing your voice. In an arrival season, someone creates room for you to speak. In a waiting season, you may be learning to manage small responsibilities. In an arrival season, a larger responsibility begins moving within reach. My beloved child, this does not mean every conversation is the answer. It does not mean every new opportunity has been sent by me. It means the work within you may finally have a place to meet the needs around you. Test what appears. Does it agree with truth? Does it honor your responsibilities? Does it produce healthy fruit? Can it survive prayer, facts, patience, and wise counsel? Arrival does not cancel discernment, it requires it. Another difference can be seen in the kind of pressure you feel. During waiting, the pressure often says, prepare more, learn more, become steadier, repair what is weak. During arrival, the pressure may suddenly change. Instead of telling you to prepare, it tells you to abandon everything. It says, the years meant nothing. It urges you to destroy the structure before you have examined what is changing. My beloved child, be careful with pressure that demands evacuation without direction. A true ending can be painful, but it becomes clearer through prayer counsel, evidence, and time. Panic usually offers only one command: leave now. It does not explain what faithfulness will look like next. It does not help you consider the people affected by your decision. It only promises relief. Relief may be needed, but relief is not always guidance. Sometimes you need rest inside the assignment before you can hear whether the assignment itself has changed. My beloved child, imagine the final hour before dawn. The sky may not look brighter yet. In fact, the darkness can feel heavier because your eyes are tired and the night has lasted so long. But changes are already happening beyond what you can see. The air begins to shift. Birds become restless. The horizon slowly loses its sharp black edge. Nothing dramatic has happened yet. The night is no longer exactly the same. That is how an arrival season may begin. The evidence is small, but it has direction. The movement is quiet, but it is consistent. The changes connect with what has been formed in you. Do not create signs where none exist. But do not ignore patterns simply because they are not spectacular. My beloved child, one conversation may matter. One honest invitation may matter. One new responsibility may matter. One corrected relationship may create access that did not exist before. Receive these things as information, not as guarantees. Let them encourage attention without producing fantasy. You are not being asked to announce a victory before the work is complete. You are being asked to become awake enough to notice when preparation begins turning into participation. There is also a change inside you. In waiting, you may constantly ask, when will something happen? In arrival, the question begins to become, how should I respond to what is happening? You feel less desperate to force movement and more willing to handle movement wisely. That is maturity. My beloved child, you may still feel afraid. New responsibility can awaken the same insecurity that waiting exposed. You may wonder whether you are ready. Do not confuse nervousness with disqualification. Readiness does not mean you feel completely certain. It means you are willing to move carefully with the wisdom you have gained. Remember Esther. Her preparation was long quiet and largely outside her control. Then a moment came when her position became connected to a responsibility larger than her comfort. She did not rush without counsel. She listened. She prepared. She asked others to pray. Then she acted. My beloved child, that is how you respond when waiting begins to become arrival. You remain humble. You examine the opportunity. You prepare what is needed. You ask for wisdom. You take the next faithful step without pretending to control the whole outcome. Do not force an arrival because you are tired of waiting. And do not remain frozen when clear responsibility appears. simply because waiting has become familiar. Let truth, fruit, peace, and wise counsel help you recognize the season. Write "I will recognize the season with wisdom" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that you do not need to invent movement or ignore it. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you why your location, your daily faithfulness, and the place where you continue to serve may matter more than you realize. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you how to recognize the difference between a season of preparation and a season when movement begins to appear. Now I want to explain why your location matters more than you may realize. Location is not only an address. It is the place where your faithfulness can be found. It is the work you continue to tend, the responsibility you keep honoring, the relationship you refuse to handle carelessly, and the daily practice that keeps your gift ready. My beloved child, there are moments when moving is necessary. I will never ask you to remain where you are abused, threatened, controlled, or endangered. Safety, truth, and wise counsel matter. Sometimes obedience requires leaving. But there are also moments when the desire to move comes from disappointment rather than direction. You become tired of the same routine people and unanswered questions. You imagine that a new place will automatically create a new life. Sometimes a new place helps. Sometimes the old struggle simply follows you there. That is why I want you to examine what you mean when you say, "I need to leave." Do you need a different location? Or do you need rest, support, a clearer plan, a healthier boundary, or courage to complete what you have avoided? My beloved child, your position may be less about where your feet stand and more about what your hands remain willing to do. A teacher can leave one school and still remain faithful to the calling to teach. A parent can change a living arrangement and still protect the responsibility to care. A worker can leave a dishonest company without abandoning integrity. The true post is the place where your obedience becomes practical. Remember Elijah beside the brook. He was directed to a specific place during a season of drought. The brook was not impressive. It was quiet, limited, and far from public attention. Yet that location held an instruction. There he learned dependence. There he received what was needed for that stage. Then the brook dried and a new instruction came. My beloved child, notice both parts. He stayed while the instruction remained. He moved when the instruction changed. Faithfulness was not blind attachment to one location. It was responsiveness to clear direction. That is the balance I want you to carry. Do not abandon your post because boredom has become loud. Do not remain only because fear makes change uncomfortable. Stay attentive enough to know which season you are actually in. Your location matters because preparation often connects to opportunity through consistency. People learn where to find you. They learn whether your word can be trusted. They learn whether you complete what you begin. They learn whether you remain calm when pressure rises. My beloved child, reliability creates a kind of address. It tells others this person can be trusted, remains prepared, and can receive responsibility without creating confusion. Many doors do not open because someone announces destiny. They open because character has become visible over time. That is why small faithfulness matters. The message you answer, the task you finish, the appointment you keep, the apology you make, the boundary you maintain. These actions keep you findable. My beloved child, being findable does not mean making yourself available to everyone. It does not mean explaining your dreams to people who mock them or allowing constant access to those who drain your strength. A clear location includes boundaries. A lighthouse is useful because it remains visible, but it is also built on stone. It does not chase every ship across the water. It stands, shines, and allows those who need the light to recognize it. You must learn the same steadiness. Let your work speak clearly. Let your values remain visible. Let your yes mean yes. Let your no protect what matters. My beloved child, confusion weakens a position. If you are constantly changing your message, abandoning routines, or beginning new plans before giving wise ones time to grow, people may not know where your commitment truly rests. You may not know either. That is why this season may require simplification. Choose what you are actually called to tend now. Not every idea deserves equal energy. Not every invitation deserves an immediate answer. Not every problem belongs in your hands. A clear post allows your attention to gather. My beloved child, think of Nehemiah rebuilding the wall. He understood that the work required focus. When others tried to pull him away into repeated meetings, he answered that he was doing important work and could not come down. He did not call every invitation an opportunity. He recognized distraction. Your location may also need that kind of protection. Some conversations pull you away without offering wisdom. Comparisons make your assignment feel insignificant. Urgent requests become important because someone else refuses to plan. You can remain compassionate without leaving the wall every time someone calls your name. My beloved child, your location matters because certain lessons can only be completed through staying long enough. Patience cannot grow if you escape every delay. Conflict skills cannot mature if you disappear from every difficult conversation. Discipline cannot form if you rebuild your routine whenever emotion changes. But staying long enough does not mean staying forever. It means remaining until truth becomes clear, the lesson is received, or the next responsible step can be named. My beloved child, ask yourself what your current post is asking from you. Does it require courage? Does it require preparation? Does it require a boundary? Does it require humility to receive correction? Does it require rest so you can continue without resentment? Name the responsibility before you decide whether to leave it. You may discover that you do not hate the assignment. You hate the way you have been carrying it alone. You may not need a new field. You may need better tools, wiser support, and a healthier rhythm. My beloved child, I also want you to release the fear that one imperfect decision will destroy your entire future. You are not walking through life without grace. If you move too soon before you can learn, if you stayed too long, you can heal. If you missed an opportunity, you can still become wiser and more prepared for what comes next. Do not turn the language of location into superstition. Your life is not ruined because you changed an address. What matters is whether you continue returning to truth. My beloved child, hold your position today by doing the next faithful thing. Complete what is yours. Protect your peace. Ask the needed question. Rest before deciding. Seek counsel where the stakes are high. Let your location become clear through consistent obedience and patient discernment, not anxious control. Write, I will remain findable through faithfulness in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words mean that you will not abandon responsibility merely because pressure has become uncomfortable. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will give a name to the sudden urge that tells you to leave just when staying becomes difficult, and you will learn how the exit reflex disguises itself as wisdom. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you why your location matters and how steady faithfulness keeps you clear, prepared, and findable. Now I want to name the sudden urge that tries to pull you away before you have examined what is really happening. I call it the exit reflex. The exit reflex is the impulse to abandon a position, relationship, discipline, responsibility, or long process when pressure becomes uncomfortable and the outcome remains uncertain. It does not always arrive as panic. Sometimes it sounds calm. Sometimes it sounds intelligent. Sometimes it uses words like freedom, strategy, maturity, or self-protection. My beloved child, that is why naming it matters. A feeling becomes easier to examine when it no longer hides behind a vague sense that you must do something immediately. The exit reflex says, leave now. Wisdom says, understand first. The exit reflex wants relief before truth. Wisdom is willing to pause long enough to separate exhaustion, fear, danger, disappointment, and genuine redirection. My beloved child, this reflex can appear in many parts of life. A person begins healing, reaches the painful layer beneath the obvious wound, and suddenly becomes convinced that counseling is useless. A worker spends months learning a new skill, reaches the stage where mistakes become visible, and decides the whole path was wrong. A couple begins having more honest conversations, touches the conflict they have avoided for years, and one person wants to disappear before vulnerability can deepen. A person builds a healthy routine, misses a few days, feels ashamed, and destroys the whole structure instead of simply returning. The reflex often appears when progress stops feeling exciting and starts requiring endurance. My beloved child, do not misunderstand me. Leaving can be wise. Ending something can be healthy. There are relationships, workplaces, agreements, and environments that should not be preserved. Abuse, manipulation, repeated dishonesty, serious danger, and the destruction of your health require truth, boundaries, and support. The exit reflex is not every decision to leave. It is the urge to escape before you have gathered facts, rested, prayed, sought counsel, or named the actual problem. It is movement used to avoid understanding. My beloved child, the reflex often becomes strongest near a point of exposure. You may be close to discovering whether the work can grow, whether the relationship can become honest, whether your skill is strong enough, or whether your healing is reaching the root. That moment creates vulnerability. If you stay, you may succeed. You may also receive correction. You may have to admit what needs to change. You may discover that the next level requires more responsibility than fantasy ever mentioned. Leaving early protects you from finding out. That is why the exit reflex is not only fear of failure, sometimes it is fear of being seen clearly. Remember Gideon. When he was called to act, he did not immediately feel courageous. He named his weakness, questioned the instruction, and asked for reassurance. Yet he did not run before the conversation was complete. My beloved child, I did not shame him for needing clarity. I met him in the questions and continued forming his courage. You can do the same. You can question without disappearing. You can feel afraid without obeying fear. You can ask for confirmation without inventing endless tests that protect you from every decision. The exit reflex also feeds on old memories. If you have been rejected before, the first sign of uncertainty can make you assume rejection is returning. If a previous project failed, one slow month may feel like the beginning of the same ending. If someone once betrayed you, a difficult conversation may make your body prepare for abandonment before the present person has actually left. My beloved child, your body remembers what your mind is trying to evaluate. That does not make you weak. It means your response may be connected to more than the current moment. Pause and ask what belongs to today and what belongs to an older wound. This question can prevent the past from choosing the future for you. The exit reflex also uses perfection. It tells you that if the path were right, you would never doubt it. If the relationship were healthy, conflict would not exist. If the calling were real, progress would be faster. If you were capable, you would not need help. These standards are impossible. Real growth includes uncertainty, correction, repetition, and ordinary days. My beloved child, difficulty does not automatically prove that you are misplaced. Ease does not automatically prove that you are aligned. Look at the fruit over time. Are you becoming more honest, responsible, compassionate, and clear? Is the environment allowing healthy growth? Can problems be discussed? Can boundaries be respected? Can mistakes be corrected? These questions reveal more than temporary emotion. The reflex may also appear through sudden obsession with another path. A different career, city, relationship, or project begins glowing in your imagination. You see its promise, but not its cost. You compare its beginning with the middle of your current journey. My beloved child, every unchosen road can look clean from a distance. Before you abandon what you know, study what you are idealizing. What would the new path require? What problems would follow you? What responsibilities would remain? What are you hoping the change will make you feel? You may discover that you do not need a different life. You need rest, support, honesty, or a new way of carrying the life already in your hands. When the exit reflex rises, do not argue with it for hours. Use a simple process. Delay the irreversible decision when safety allows. Write down the facts. Name the feeling. Rest your body. Pray without forcing an answer. Speak with someone trustworthy who knows both your history and your current situation. Then ask what the next faithful step is. My beloved child, the next faithful step may be staying. It may be changing the method. It may be setting a boundary. It may be asking for help. It may be leaving with clarity and a responsible plan. The goal is not to remain at all costs. The goal is to refuse impulsive escape as your guide. My beloved child, you may feel embarrassed that a reflex can reach you after everything you have learned. Do not use awareness as a weapon against yourself. Recognition is progress. The moment you can say, "This is an urge, not an order," you have interrupted the pattern. You have created room for grace, responsibility, and a wiser response. Naming the reflex gives you space between pressure and action. That space is where freedom begins. You are no longer controlled by the first urge. You can examine it, you can test it, you can decide from truth. Write "I will pause before I escape" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that urgency does not deserve automatic obedience. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will help you release the shame connected to the times you left too soon, abandoned yourself, or acted from fear, so the past no longer has power to repeat itself through you. My beloved child, in the last part, I helped you name the exit reflex, the urge that can make pressure feel like an order. Now I want to speak to the shame you carry about the times you obeyed that urge before you understood it. You remember the places you left. You remember the conversation you avoided, the work you abandoned, the promise you broke, or the season you ended before wisdom had finished speaking. Sometimes you learned later that progress came after you walked away. Someone else continued the project. A relationship became healthier after you disappeared. An opportunity returned, but you were no longer prepared to receive it. Those memories still hurt. My beloved child, regret can become a teacher, but shame becomes a prison. Regret says, I wish I had chosen differently. Shame says, I am the kind of person who always ruins what matters. One statement examines an action. The other condemns your identity. I will correct you, but I will not reduce you to your worst decision. You may have left because you were exhausted. You may have feared rejection, failure, exposure, or responsibility. You may have believed that disappearing would protect you from more pain. Perhaps no one taught you how to pause before reacting. Perhaps your body had learned that escape was the safest response available. My beloved child, understanding the reason does not erase responsibility. It helps you take responsibility without hatred. You can say, I acted from fear. You can say, I hurt someone. You can say, I abandoned something that deserved a clearer ending. Then you can ask what repair is possible now. Some situations may allow an apology. Some may allow a conversation, repayment, correction, or renewed commitment. Others may be closed, and contacting the person again could disturb healing or violate a boundary. Wisdom must guide repair. Do not reopen every door simply because guilt wants relief. Sometimes the most honest repentance is changed behavior in the life you are living now. Remember Jonah. He received a direction and ran in the opposite direction. His fear affected more than himself. Other people were drawn into the storm created by his escape. Yet his story did not end with failure. The word came to him again. My beloved child, notice what mercy did not do. Mercy did not pretend he had never run. It met him after the consequences, restored the conversation, and gave him another opportunity to obey. A second opportunity is grace, not proof that every lost opportunity returns in the same form. Some doors close. Some relationships change permanently. Some seasons cannot be recreated. But growth is still possible. You can become more truthful because of what you lost. You can recognize the exit reflex earlier. You can build the emotional strength you lacked before. You can offer someone else the patience you once needed. Nothing requires the past to repeat exactly for redemption to become real. My beloved child, Peter also knew the pain of leaving his position. He promised loyalty, then denied knowing Jesus when fear entered the courtyard. Imagine the shame after the rooster sounded. He could not edit the words he had spoken. He could not return to the moment and become braver. But after the resurrection, Jesus met him beside the water. The conversation did not humiliate Peter. It asked whether love was still present, then gave that love responsibility. My beloved child, restoration is not merely feeling forgiven. It is learning to carry responsibility differently. You may want me to remove every consequence so you never have to feel the weight of your choice. But sometimes healing includes facing what happened, grieving honestly, and allowing the lesson to become part of your maturity. Forgiveness does not make the past meaningless. It prevents the past from becoming your master. The exit reflex often uses shame to repeat itself. It tells you that because you left once, you will leave again. It says there is no point trying because people already know your weakness. Then when pressure rises, you escape before anyone can discover whether you have changed. My beloved child, that is how shame protects its own story. Break the pattern by staying present in small moments. Finish the conversation. Return after missing a day. Admit the mistake before someone confronts you. Ask for help before panic becomes disappearance. Each small return teaches your heart that failure does not require evacuation. You can stumble and remain honest. You can feel embarrassed and still repair. You can be corrected without abandoning yourself. My beloved child, there may also be times when leaving was the right decision, but you still carry shame because someone called your boundary betrayal. You may have left an abusive relationship, a dishonest workplace, a controlling community, or an agreement that was damaging your health. Do not confuse protection with cowardice. Leaving danger is not the exit reflex. Seeking safety is wisdom. You are not required to return to harm in order to prove faithfulness. Let truth separate necessary departure from impulsive escape. My beloved child, examine the fruit. Did leaving protect life, integrity, health, or safety? Or did it mainly protect you from discomfort, accountability, uncertainty, or vulnerability? The answer may be mixed. Human decisions often are. You can honor the part that sought safety while correcting the part that avoided honesty. You can hold compassion and responsibility together. Do not demand a simple verdict when the story was complicated. My beloved child, release the fantasy that one perfect decision would have saved you from every painful lesson. You were learning with limited understanding. You saw some things clearly and missed others. Grace meets you in that truth. Now you know more. Use what you know. Before leaving, ask what has changed. Before staying, ask what is being harmed. Before returning, ask whether return would be healthy. Before apologizing, ask whether the apology is for their healing or only your relief. Maturity slows down enough to consider the whole person, not only the emotion of the moment. You do not need to punish yourself to prove that you understand the lesson. Punishment keeps your attention fixed on who you were. Responsibility turns your attention toward what love, truth, and wisdom require. Let remorse become movement. Let memory become discernment. Let the place where you once ran become the place where you now learn to stand. My beloved child, you cannot rebuild every abandoned field, but you can stop abandoning the field within yourself. Remain present with your feelings. Remain honest about your motives. Remain willing to learn. Remain close to me when shame tells you to hide. Your past may explain your fear, but it does not have authority to write your next response. Write "I release shame" and choose responsibility in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words mean that you will neither deny what happened nor use it to condemn who you are becoming. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you why this instruction is reaching you now and how your ability to hear it reveals that you are stronger, wiser, and more ready than you were before. My beloved child, in the last part, I helped you release the shame connected to the times you left too soon, acted from fear, or abandoned yourself under pressure. Now I want to show you why this instruction is reaching you at this point in your journey. You may wonder why I did not say these words earlier. Why did clarity not come when the first doubts appeared? Why did you have to walk through confusion, regret, waiting, and repeated lessons before learning how to hold your position with wisdom? My beloved child, some instructions become useful only after your character is strong enough to carry them. A truth given too early can become another burden. A command without preparation can sound like punishment. If you had heard "stay" before learning the difference between faithfulness and fear, you might have remained in places that were harming you. If you had heard "move" before learning patience, you might have called every discomfort a sign to leave. Timing matters. I was not withholding truth to confuse you. I was teaching you the language needed to understand it. You had to learn what safety feels like. You had to learn how manipulation sounds. You had to discover the difference between peace and numbness, between rest and avoidance, between a boundary and a wall built from fear. Now the instruction can reach you without crushing you. My beloved child, standing with discernment is heavier than constant movement. Movement can create the feeling that you are doing something. It gives your mind new scenery, new plans, and temporary relief. Standing requires you to face what remains when the excitement disappears. You must face your motives. You must face the unfinished work. You must face the possibility that patience, not escape, is the next faithful response. That kind of standing requires strength you did not yet have in earlier seasons. Do not hear that as condemnation. You were growing. Remember the disciples when Jesus told them there were things they could not yet bear. He did not reject them for their limits. He understood that truth has weight and that growth prepares the heart to receive it. My beloved child, your limits were not proof that you were unwanted. They were evidence that formation was still happening. You needed experience before certain words could become wisdom instead of pressure. You needed failure before correction could become compassion. You needed rest before you could recognize how exhaustion changes your interpretation. Now you can hear stay and still ask healthy questions. Is this place safe? Is there good fruit? Are my responsibilities clear? Have I sought wise counsel? Am I staying from obedience or fear? This is maturity. My beloved child, the instruction came now because you are no longer the person who obeys every emotion automatically. The urge may still rise, but you can observe it. The fear may still speak, but you can test it. The pressure may still increase, but you have learned to pause before turning it into action. You are not perfect. You are more prepared. You can carry truth now without using it against yourself again. There is a difference. Preparation often looks ordinary while it is happening. You thought you were only surviving difficult conversations. You were learning emotional endurance. You thought you were only recovering from disappointment. You were learning how to begin again without losing your identity. You thought you were waiting for circumstances to change. I was also teaching you how to respond when they did. My beloved child, think of clay in the hands of a potter. Before a vessel can carry anything valuable, it must be centered. If the clay is off-center, every attempt to raise it higher makes it collapse. The pressure of the hands is not cruelty, it is alignment. The spinning wheel may feel repetitive, but each turn helps the vessel become balanced enough to hold what will later be placed inside it. Your repeated lessons were doing that work. They were centering you. You learned not to build your identity on praise. You learned that a closed door does not define your future. You learned that an open door is not always permission. You learn to recognize when your body needs care instead of another spiritual explanation. My beloved child, these lessons make the present instruction survivable. You can stay without becoming passive. You can wait without inventing promises. You can prepare without trying to control every outcome. You can leave if truth, safety, and wise counsel clearly require it. That balance could not be forced into you. It had to be lived. The instruction also came now because your attention has become more honest. Earlier, you may have listened mainly for what confirmed what you already wanted. If you wanted to stay, you ignored warnings. If you wanted to leave, you collected reasons. Now you are more willing to hear an answer that challenges your preference. My beloved child, teachability is a sign of readiness. A teachable heart does not demand that every direction feel comforting. It asks whether the direction is true, responsible, and consistent with love. You have become more capable of receiving correction without turning it into rejection. You can admit that a method is failing without assuming the mission is false. You can change a plan without calling the whole journey wasted. That flexibility makes you stronger, not weaker. My beloved child, this instruction is also arriving now because the next season may require steadiness more than speed. Greater responsibility often comes through ordinary moments. A person asks for help. A door opens slightly. A conversation requires courage. A small assignment tests whether you can remain dependable. If you are constantly abandoning routines, relationships, and responsibilities, whenever emotion shifts, you may not recognize what these moments are asking from you. Steadiness creates room for recognition. It allows people to trust your word. It allows skills to deepen. It allows your own mind to become quiet enough to notice what is changing. My beloved child, do not turn this message into a prediction that a specific opportunity must appear soon. Let it become preparation for whatever truth requires next. The purpose of the instruction is not to make you obsessed with arrival. It is to make you faithful in the present. Today may still look ordinary. Your work may still feel unseen. The answer may still require time. But you are no longer carrying the season with the same understanding you had before. You know how to rest without disappearing. You know how to ask for help without surrendering responsibility. You know how to wait without calling yourself forgotten. That is why the instruction can come now. You are strong enough to hold it with open hands. Write, "I am ready to hear" clearly in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words mean that you will receive guidance without panic, pride, or self-condemnation. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will take you into the story of Joseph and show you how hidden faithfulness kept him prepared, recognizable, and ready when the call finally reached the place where he was serving. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you why this instruction is reaching you now after experience has taught you how to stay without becoming trapped and how to move without running from truth. Now I want Joseph to show you what hidden faithfulness can prepare. Joseph received a dream before he possessed the character, wisdom, or position required to carry its weight. He saw a future he could not yet understand. Then the road moved in the opposite direction. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a servant, falsely accused, and placed in prison. Every visible circumstance seemed to contradict what he once believed about his life. My beloved child, Joseph could not control the route. He could control how he lived inside it. He served in the house where he had not chosen to work. He remained trustworthy when no one from his past could see him. When injustice sent him into confinement, he continued noticing the needs and dreams of people around him. This matters. Joseph did not wait for a palace before using his gift. He interpreted dreams in prison. He practiced faithfulness where the audience was small and the reward uncertain. He kept his inner tools from rusting simply because the environment looked unworthy of them. My beloved child, hidden faithfulness keeps you recognizable. It teaches people what your character looks like before your name becomes important. It reveals whether you can carry responsibility when praise is absent. It prepares you to respond when a moment arrives that requires more than excitement. You may be tempted to believe that your present environment is too ordinary for your gift. You may say, I will become disciplined when the opportunity appears. I will prepare when someone notices me. I will serve wholeheartedly when the role feels significant. But Joseph shows you another way. Preparation happens before recognition. Character becomes visible through ordinary responsibility. My beloved child, the prison did not create Joseph's calling, but it revealed how he carried it under pressure. His circumstances were unjust, and Scripture does not ask you to call injustice good. Yet even there, he refused to let bitterness become the only language of his life. You may also be living in a place you did not choose. Perhaps a family responsibility changed your plans. Perhaps illness, financial pressure, rejection, or a closed door placed you in a slower season. Do not pretend the pain is easy, but ask what faithfulness looks like here. What skill can you keep developing? What responsibility can you honor? Whom can you serve without using service to avoid your own needs? What truth can you protect when disappointment invites cynicism? My beloved child, Joseph's opportunity did not arrive as a dramatic vision in his cell. It began with another person's problem. Pharaoh had a dream that disturbed him. The cupbearer remembered Joseph. A conversation far from the prison caused Joseph's name to be spoken in a room he could not enter on his own. Then the summons came. Joseph was brought out, cleaned, and prepared to stand before authority. Notice the sequence. The need appeared. Someone remembered his faithfulness. His gift matched the moment. He responded. My beloved child, this is one way opportunities can arrive. A need becomes visible. Someone remembers your work, and preparation meets responsibility. But do not turn Joseph's story into a guarantee that every hidden season will end with public elevation. Scripture does not promise that every faithful person will receive a palace, a title, or visible success. The lesson is deeper. Faithfulness keeps you ready for whatever responsibility truth places before you. The outcome may be public or quiet. It may involve leadership, service, reconciliation, or simply becoming a stable person your family can trust. My beloved child, being findable does not mean waiting passively for someone to rescue you. Joseph served, learned, listened, and used wisdom. When Pharaoh asked for understanding, Joseph did not pretend the gift belonged to him alone. He answered with humility and then offered a practical plan. He did not only explain the dream, he described how to prepare for abundance and famine. That is important. A true opportunity may require more than talent. It may require judgment, planning, communication, and responsibility. Your gift may open a conversation, but your character helps you carry what follows. My beloved child, keep your gift sharp. If you write, write. If you teach, study, and explain clearly. If you lead, learn to listen and make accountable decisions. If you care for others, strengthen your boundaries, so compassion does not become exhaustion. If you build, understand the details that support what you are creating. Do not wait for a large stage to become dependable. The habits you practice in private will travel with you into every larger room. My beloved child, there is another detail in Joseph's story that you need to remember. After interpreting the cupbearer's dream, Joseph asked to be remembered. Then he was forgotten for a time. Even faithful people can be overlooked. Even good work can remain unseen longer than expected. Do not use that delay as proof that your service had no value, but do not use it as a reason to stop taking responsible steps either. Continue preparing. Maintain healthy connections. Ask for help when needed. Follow up when appropriate. Faith and practical action can stand together. There may be no messenger, yet no call and no visible shift. That does not require you to invent one. It asks you to keep becoming the kind of person who can meet real responsibility without panic. Review your work. Correct what is weak. Protect your health. Learn what the next level would actually demand. Readiness is not nervous waiting at the door. It is living so faithfully that when a genuine need appears, you can answer without becoming someone else first or pretending. My beloved child, if you have been forgotten by someone you trusted, let Joseph's story comfort you without creating fantasy. People may fail to remember. Systems may be unfair. Timing may remain uncertain. Your task is not to control every room where your name might be spoken. Your task is to live truthfully in the room where you are now. That is how you remain ready. When the summons came, Joseph did not have time to build character from the beginning. He could only bring what the hidden years had already formed. My beloved child, your ordinary days are doing the same kind of work. The way you answer pressure, the way you handle correction, the way you treat people who cannot promote you, the way you manage small responsibilities. These things are preparing your response before you know what the next question will be. Write "I will keep my gift ready" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that hidden faithfulness is not wasted, even when the final outcome remains unknown. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how the exit reflex disguises itself as false wisdom, comparison, and fatigue, so you can recognize the voice before it pulls you away from what still deserves careful attention. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you how Joseph kept his gift ready while serving in a place that looked nothing like the future he once imagined. Now I want to help you recognize the three disguises the exit reflex uses when it wants to pull you away without revealing its true name. The first disguise is false wisdom. It rarely says run because you are afraid. It sounds more mature than that. It says perhaps this door has closed. Perhaps staying is foolish. Perhaps you are forcing something I already ended. Perhaps leaving now proves that you have finally learned to protect yourself. My beloved child, these questions can be honest. Sometimes a door really has closed. Sometimes a plan should end. Sometimes wisdom requires a new direction. The disguise appears when the voice creates urgency but refuses examination. False wisdom wants you to decide before you rest. It wants you to act before you gather facts. It calls discomfort confirmation and treats every delay like a final answer. True redirection can survive prayer time, scripture-wise counsel, and honest questions. False wisdom becomes irritated when you slow down. It says there is no time to think, no need to ask, and no reason to consider who will be affected. My beloved child, listen to the difference. True guidance may be firm, but it does not need confusion to control you. It can name the next faithful step. It does not merely say what to abandon. It helps you understand what truth, safety, responsibility, and love require afterward. Remember when Paul wanted to travel into one region, but the way was closed, and later he received a clearer direction toward Macedonia. The redirection did not remain a vague feeling of escape. It became a path that could be named and followed. My beloved child, if the voice only says get out but gives no responsible next step, pause. Ask whether you need to leave or whether you need to change the way you are carrying the assignment. The second disguise is comparison. The exit reflex will place another person's visible life beside your hidden struggle and ask why you are still where you are. Suddenly, everyone seems to be moving faster. Someone changes careers and appears fulfilled. Someone leaves a relationship and seems free. Someone launches a project and receives attention immediately. Someone moves to another city and describes a life without the pressures you know. My beloved child, comparison shows you the balcony and hides the basement. It gives you another person's result without their cost, their support, their private grief, or the years that came before the picture you are seeing. Then it compares that polished image with your tiredest day. That comparison is not fair and it is not useful. It can make a faithful season feel like failure simply because it is not public. Remember Saul watching David receive praise Instead of examining his own heart and responsibility, Saul allowed comparison to turn another person's gift into a threat. What began as insecurity grew into obsession, anger, and destructive decisions. My beloved child, comparison does not only make you envy another path, it can make you despise your own. You begin calling your responsibilities small. You call your quiet progress meaningless. You treat your current field as punishment because someone else's field looks greener from a distance. Bring comparison into the light. Ask what you actually admire. Is it their freedom, their courage, their income, their sense of purpose? Then ask what healthy action that desire may be revealing. Perhaps you do need training. Perhaps you need a boundary. Perhaps you need to develop a neglected gift. Let comparison become information without allowing it to become your commander. My beloved child, do not copy another person's movement when you have not examined your own direction. The third disguise is fatigue. This disguise deserves compassion because it is built from something real. You are tired. You have carried responsibility for a long time. You have continued without enough encouragement. You have made decisions, solved problems, and tried to remain faithful while your body and mind were asking for care. The exit reflex takes that honest exhaustion and changes one sentence. It turns "I need rest" into "I need to leave everything." Those are not the same message. Rest can restore you within an assignment. Escape removes you before you know whether the assignment itself was the problem. My beloved child, exhaustion narrows your vision. It makes tomorrow look like a copy of today. It makes one unresolved problem feel permanent. It weakens patience and makes immediate relief appear wiser than long-term truth. That is why important decisions should not be made at the lowest point of your strength when delay is possible. Eat, sleep, step away from the noise. Ask someone trustworthy to help you see what fatigue is exaggerating. If exhaustion is persistent, seek medical or mental health support. A tired body can affect thought, emotion, and spiritual interpretation. Receiving care is not a failure of faith. Remember Elijah after the victory on Mount Carmel. When fear and exhaustion overtook him, he sat beneath a tree and wanted to stop. Heaven did not begin with a lecture. He received sleep. He received food. He received more rest. Only then did the next part of his journey become clear. My beloved child, sometimes the most spiritual response to the exit reflex is not another speech. It is nourishment, quiet, and permission to recover. Do not let fatigue write a permanent conclusion about a temporary condition. Bring the three disguises together. False wisdom says leave before you test the message. Comparison says leave because another life looks better. Fatigue says leave because you cannot imagine feeling strong again. Your response is not blind resistance. Your response is discernment. Pause before an irreversible decision. Name which disguise may be speaking. Ask what facts support the feeling. Ask what your body needs. Ask what scripture, healthy fruit, responsibility, safety, and wise counsel reveal. My beloved child, the exit reflex loses power when it is forced to explain itself. It prefers speed. It prefers vagueness. It prefers isolation. Wisdom creates time, language, and community. You may discover that staying is still right. You may discover that the method must change. You may discover that a boundary is overdue. You may discover that leaving is the truthful and responsible choice. The victory is not staying at all costs. The victory is refusing to let disguise make the decision for you. Clarity may not arrive in one dramatic moment. It may grow as your breathing slows, your body rests, and the facts become easier to face. Give truth enough room to become steadier than the first urgent feeling inside you. Write, "I will see through the disguise" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that pressure can be examined, comparison can be questioned, and fatigue can be cared for. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you why holding your position does not mean becoming passive, and how you can stand guard with attention, courage, and active faithfulness. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you how false wisdom, comparison, and fatigue can disguise the exit reflex. Now I want to correct a misunderstanding that can make holding your position feel heavier than it needs to feel. Staying does not mean becoming still inside. It does not mean shutting down your questions, ignoring evidence, or waiting without responsibility. There is a difference between standing still and standing guard. A parked vehicle and a watchman may both appear motionless from a distance, but one is inactive. The other is listening, observing, preparing, and protecting what has been entrusted to him. My beloved child, I am not asking you to park your life. I am asking you to remain awake within it. Standing guard means you continue doing what truth requires while refusing to let panic choose your direction. You watch the condition of your heart. You notice what is changing around you. You protect what is healthy. You ask questions before opening every door. This is active faithfulness. A guard does not stare at the horizon and imagine that every shadow is a threat. A wise guard knows the landscape. He learns the difference between ordinary movement and real danger. He stays clear enough to respond accurately. My beloved child, this is the posture I want you to learn. Standing guard is not superstition. It is disciplined attention. Your calm attention protects more than anxious movement ever could. Remember Habakkuk when he spoke of taking his position on the watchtower to see what answer would come. He did not run through the city creating conclusions before he had listened. He took his place, remained attentive, and prepared to respond. My beloved child, the watchtower was not a place of passivity. It was a place of perspective. From ground level, every sound can feel close. From a higher place, patterns become easier to see. Distance from immediate emotion allows you to examine what is truly approaching. Step back from the argument. Step away from constant messages. Stop checking for signs every few minutes. Give your mind enough quiet to recognize the difference between a real change and a temporary wave of emotion. My beloved child, standing guard also means preparing while you wait. If you believe a new responsibility may come, strengthen the skills it would require. If you are praying for healthier relationships, practice honest communication and clear boundaries now. If you hope for greater influence, learn how to handle correction before more people are watching. Readiness is not nervous anticipation. It is faithful preparation without obsession. A guard keeps the entrance clear. He checks the hinges, watches the path, and knows what belongs inside. He does not wait until the knock comes to decide what he values. My beloved child, you also need to know what you are guarding. You are not guarding an image of success. You are guarding your integrity. You are guarding the habits that keep you grounded. You are guarding the peace that allows you to hear clearly. You are guarding the responsibilities that belong to you, and the boundaries that keep what does not belong to you from taking over. If you do not know what matters, every urgent request will feel important. Standing guard requires priorities. My beloved child, some of you have confused vigilance with tension. You believe being prepared means keeping your body braced and your mind constantly alert for disappointment. That is not healthy watchfulness. A guard who never rests eventually misreads the field. Exhaustion turns harmless movement into danger, and real danger into something too difficult to face. Rest is part of guarding. Sleep protects judgment. Prayer protects perspective. Community protects you from believing every private interpretation. My beloved child, standing guard does not mean standing alone. In ancient cities, watchmen often worked in shifts. One person could not remain fully alert through every hour without help. You also need people who can see what you miss. A trusted friend may notice when fatigue is changing your thinking. A counselor may help you identify an old wound beneath the current pressure. A wise leader may recognize when an opportunity is healthy or when a pattern is becoming unsafe. Receiving help does not weaken your post, it strengthens it. My beloved child, there will be moments when guarding your position requires action. You may need to repair an agreement. You may need to complete neglected work. You may need to apologize. You may need to remove a distraction that has been draining your attention. Remaining in place while refusing necessary action is not faithfulness. It is avoidance wearing religious language. Standing guard keeps your hands available. It asks, what is mine to do today? Not what can I control tomorrow? Not how can I force the outcome? What is the next honest responsibility in front of me? My beloved child, there will also be moments when standing guard reveals that the season has truly changed. A watchman does not stay at a gate after the city has ordered a responsible transition. He does not remain in danger to prove loyalty. If facts, safety, scripture-wise counsel, and consistent fruit show that a relationship, role, or environment must change, then moving can become part of guarding what matters. Do not turn stay into an idol. The goal is obedience, not immobility. The goal is clarity, not stubbornness. The goal is faithful response, not fear of making any change. My beloved child, standing guard can be summarized through 3 assignments. First, guard the gate. Protect the daily choices that keep your life open to truth and closed to manipulation. Maintain the small practices that support your calling, health, and responsibilities. Second, guard the declaration. Pay attention to the words you repeat about your season. Your speech can either strengthen honesty or deepen despair. You do not need empty claims. You need language that agrees with truth. Third, guard the watchtower. Protect your mind from constant noise, false urgency, comparison, and exhaustion. Keep enough clarity to recognize what deserves attention and what should pass without controlling you. For now, understand the shift. You are not being asked to freeze. You are being asked to become present. You are not being asked to ignore movement. You are being asked to discern it. You are not being asked to wait helplessly. You are being asked to prepare faithfully. My beloved child, this posture changes the way you experience the season. You stop counting every quiet day as wasted. You begin seeing ordinary obedience as part of protection. You stop demanding certainty before taking the next small step. Standing guard allows patience and action to live together. It allows hope and evidence to speak to each other. It allows rest without abandonment and readiness without panic. Write, "I will stand guard with wisdom" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that holding your position is an active choice to remain attentive, prepared, and truthful. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how to guard the gate of your daily faithfulness and protect the declaration that shapes the way you carry this season. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you that holding your position is not passive. You are not a parked life waiting for something to happen. You are a watchman awake, responsible, and ready to protect what has been entrusted to you. Now I want to teach you the first 2 duties of that watchman. Guard the gate, guard the declaration. The gate of your life is made from the small acts of faithfulness that keep your heart open to truth and your path clear of confusion. The prayer you almost skip, the promise you almost forget, the task you keep delaying, the boundary you keep weakening, the habit that protects your health, the conversation that needs honesty. My beloved child, these are hinges on the gate. A gate does not fail only because an enemy strikes it. Sometimes it fails because the hinges were neglected for too long. The entrance becomes weak through small acts of carelessness that no one notices until pressure arrives. That is why daily faithfulness matters. You may be waiting for a large opportunity while ignoring the small responsibility already in your hands. You may be asking for a new season while treating the present one carelessly. You may believe preparation begins when someone recognizes you. It begins now. Guarding the gate means completing what belongs to you today. It means paying attention to details that support the life you are building. It means keeping your word when there is no applause and correcting yourself when you fall short. My beloved child, remember the wise and foolish bridesmaids in the teaching of Jesus. All of them expected the bridegroom. All of them carried lamps, but only some prepared the oil needed for a delayed arrival. Expectation alone was not enough. Preparation mattered. The point is not to make you afraid that one mistake will close every door. Keep oil in the lamp. Rest before exhaustion empties you. Learn before responsibility expands. Organize what confusion has scattered. Ask for help before the problem becomes a crisis. My beloved child, the gate also requires boundaries. Not everything that approaches your life deserves entry. Some people arrive with urgency but no respect. Some opportunities flatter your ambition while weakening your peace. Some requests sound compassionate but depend on your inability to say no. Guarding the gate means asking questions. What is being requested? What will it require over time? Does it agree with truth? Does it respect my responsibilities? Can I say no without being punished, threatened, or shamed? A healthy opportunity can survive responsible questions. Manipulation needs speed and confusion. My beloved child, do not leave the gate open because you are afraid of disappointing people. Your kindness does not require unlimited access. Your compassion does not require you to sacrifice your health, family integrity, or calling to every urgent voice. Jesus served many people, yet he also withdrew to pray. He did not answer every demand in the same way. He moved with compassion, but he was not controlled by crowds. You can love and still guard the entrance. You can help and still keep a boundary. You can listen and still refuse what is unhealthy. My beloved child, guard the gate from the inside too. Sometimes the greatest threat is not what someone else brings. It is what you repeatedly allow through your own attention. Constant comparison enters through the gate. Fear-based content enters through the gate. Resentment enters through the gate when you replay the same wound without seeking healing. Careless speech enters through the gate when frustration becomes your daily language. Choose what you repeatedly place before your mind. The second duty is to guard the declaration. Your declaration is not a magical phrase that forces an outcome. It is the language you use to describe your position, your responsibility, and your hope. Words matter because repeated words shape attention. If you say every day that nothing will change, your mind begins overlooking evidence of growth. If you call yourself a failure after every mistake, shame becomes easier to obey. If you declare that everyone is against you, correction begins to feel like attack. My beloved child, guard your mouth from exaggeration. Do not call a delay a death sentence. Do not call one closed door a ruined future. Do not call exhaustion proof that you have no purpose. Speak accurately. Say, this is difficult, but I am learning how to carry it. Say, I do not know the outcome, but I can make the next honest choice. Say, I need rest, counsel, and clarity before I decide. Truthful declarations create stability without pretending. Remember the Israelites near the border of the land they had been promised. Some of the spies described real obstacles, but then fear enlarged those obstacles until the people saw themselves as powerless. Their words did not create the giants. Their words shaped how the community responded to them. My beloved child, you must learn the same lesson. Do not deny the challenge. Name it without surrendering your identity to it. The situation may be larger than you expected, but you are not required to face it alone. The season may be uncertain, but uncertainty is not the same as abandonment. Your strength may feel small, but small strength can still take one faithful step. Guarding your declaration also means knowing when silence is wiser than explanation. You do not need to defend your path to everyone. Some people are not asking questions because they want to understand. They want access to your uncertainty so they can shape your decision. Speak with people who have earned trust. Say less in rooms filled with mockery. Bring your honest fear to me, to wise counsel, and to those who can hold it without turning it into gossip. My beloved child, your declaration should not become performance. You do not need to sound strong every hour. You can say that you are tired. You can admit doubt. You can ask for prayer. Honesty does not weaken faith. Pretending can. A guarded declaration is not loud. It is grounded. It says, I will not let panic make my decision. It says, I will protect what truth has asked me to tend. It says, I will remain open to correction and clear redirection. It says, I will not call myself forgotten simply because the answer is slow. My beloved child, when the gate and the declaration work together, your life becomes steadier. Your habits protect your entrance and your words protect your perspective. You become less vulnerable to urgency, comparison, and emotional swings. This does not guarantee that every plan will succeed. It prepares you to respond faithfully, whether the next step is staying, adjusting, or moving. Write, I will guard what enters and what I speak in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that your daily faithfulness and your honest language are part of standing guard. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how to guard the watchtower of your mind, protect your attention from fog and noise, and remain clear enough to recognize what truly deserves your response. My beloved child, in the last part, I showed you how to guard the gate of your daily faithfulness and protect the declaration that shapes the way you carry this season. Now I want to bring you to the third duty of the watchman. Guard the watchtower of your mind. You can remain in the right place and still lose clarity. You can keep the routine, continue the work, and protect the boundary, yet become so tired, distracted, or emotionally flooded that you no longer recognize what deserves your attention. My beloved child, the watchtower is the place from which you observe before you respond. If the tower is filled with smoke, every movement below becomes difficult to interpret. A friend may offer correction and you hear rejection. A delay may ask for patience and you hear abandonment. A real warning may appear and you dismiss it because your mind is already exhausted by imagined danger. Clarity matters, not because you must understand everything, because you need enough light to take the next honest step. My beloved child, modern life constantly competes for that light. Messages arrive before you have finished one thought. News, opinions, comparisons, advertisements, and urgent requests enter your attention all day. Your mind was not created to treat every sound as equally important. When everything is urgent, nothing can be examined deeply. That is why guarding the watchtower begins with reducing unnecessary noise. You do not need to read every opinion about your decision. You do not need to check for signs every hour. You do not need to keep reopening a conversation that has already made its position clear. Step back. Create space between information and interpretation. Remember Jesus withdrawing from the crowds to pray. The needs around him were real. The people wanted answers, healing, and attention. Yet he did not allow constant demand to replace communion with the Father. My beloved child, withdrawal can be holy when it restores clarity. Turn off the noise for a while. Sit without performing. Pray without trying to produce a dramatic feeling. Read Scripture slowly enough to notice what it actually says, not only what you hope it will confirm. Let quiet reveal what urgency has been hiding. Guarding the watchtower also means caring for your body. A mind deprived of sleep does not interpret pressure accurately. Hunger can make patience thinner. Persistent stress can make neutral situations feel threatening. Pain can narrow your attention until every decision appears impossible. My beloved child, your body is not an obstacle to spiritual life. It is part of the life you have been asked to steward. Rest when you can. Eat with care. Move your body gently. Receive medical support when symptoms continue. Speak with a counselor when anxiety, depression, trauma, or mental fog makes daily life difficult. Seeking help does not mean you have failed to trust me. It means you are willing to use the support available to protect the life within you. My beloved child, the watchtower must also be guarded from repetition. What you repeat becomes familiar, and what becomes familiar can begin to sound true. If you repeatedly say, "I always miss my moment," your mind will search for evidence of failure. If you repeat, "Nobody can be trusted," you may overlook honest people. If you constantly imagine disaster, your body may begin reacting as though disaster has already arrived. Do not shame yourself for these patterns. Interrupt them with accuracy. Say, "I have missed things before, but I am learning to slow down." Say, "Some people were unsafe and some people have shown integrity." Say, "I feel afraid, but fear is not the whole picture." Truth does not require exaggeration to become strong. My beloved child, another threat to the watchtower is emotional overload. You may be carrying grief, anger, disappointment, family pressure, financial fear, and responsibility at the same time. Then one small problem appears, and you react as though it contains the weight of everything. Pause before assigning meaning. Ask, what am I actually responding to? Is this conversation the problem, or did it touch an older wound? Is this delay dangerous, or am I already overwhelmed? Is this opportunity unclear, or am I afraid of being disappointed again? These questions do not remove emotion. They help emotion find its proper place. Remember Solomon asking for wisdom to govern people he could not lead through strength alone. He understood that responsibility required a discerning heart, one able to distinguish between matters that looked similar on the surface. My beloved child, ask for that kind of wisdom, not secret knowledge, not certainty about every outcome. Ask for the ability to recognize healthy fruit, honest character, real danger, and responsible timing. Discernment grows through prayer, experience, scripture, facts, and wise community. It becomes weaker when you isolate yourself and treat every private impression as unquestionable. Guard the watchtower by inviting trustworthy people to look with you. Choose people who can respect your faith without feeding fantasy. Choose people who can name risk without controlling you through fear. Choose people who care more about your safety and integrity than about being right. My beloved child, clear minds are not minds without questions. They are minds that know how to carry questions without panicking. You can say, "I need more information." You can say, "I am not ready to answer today." You can say, "This seems promising, but I need to examine the cost." You can say, "Something feels wrong and I need help understanding why." These are not weak responses. They are the language of a watchman who refuses to open the gate blindly. My beloved child, protect your attention before important decisions. Do not enter serious conversations after hours of comparison. Do not evaluate your future while your body is depleted. Do not make permanent commitments because someone created artificial urgency. Sleep on the decision when safety allows. Write down the questions, review the details, pray, ask what will still be true after the emotion settles. A real opportunity does not become false because you examined it carefully. A healthy person will not punish you for needing clarity. My beloved child, guarding the watchtower does not mean becoming suspicious of everyone. Suspicion sees every knock as danger. Discernment listens, checks, and responds according to evidence. You can remain open without becoming careless. You can be hopeful without becoming gullible. You can recognize possibility without calling it a promise. That balance protects your peace. The goal is not to keep the tower crowded with scanning. A faithful watchman also knows when the field is quiet. Let peace be information too. When nothing requires action, return to your work, your relationships, your rest, and the responsibilities already present. Write, "My mind will remain clear and watchful" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that your attention is worth protecting, your body deserves care, and your decisions deserve enough quiet to become honest. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how people, conversations, and opportunities can become carriers of meaningful change, and how to notice them without turning every ordinary knock into a guaranteed answer. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you how to guard the watchtower of your mind so that noise, exhaustion, and fear do not decide what you see. Now, I want to help you recognize the people, conversations, needs, and opportunities that may carry meaningful change toward your life. I call them assigned carriers. That phrase does not mean every stranger has been sent with a promise. It does not mean every message is a sign, every invitation is an answer, or every coincidence must be interpreted as destiny. My beloved child, an assigned carrier is simply a person, moment, connection, or responsibility through which something useful may reach you. A teacher may carry knowledge. A friend may carry an introduction. A counselor may carry language for a wound you could not explain. The carrier may not know the weight of what they bring. You need attention without superstition. Meaningful change arrives through ordinary channels. A phone call, a recommendation, a question after a meeting, a problem someone trusts you to solve, a conversation that reconnects your journey. My beloved child, do not wait only for dramatic moments. The answer may look small enough to overlook. Remember Ananias in the book of Acts. Saul had been stopped on the road and left unable to see. Then I spoke to an ordinary disciple in Damascus and asked him to go to the man everyone feared. Ananias carried prayer, courage, and confirmation. He did not create Saul's calling. He became part of the way Saul received help, sight, and direction. My beloved child, carriers often bring one piece, not the whole future. One person may offer information. Another may challenge your preparation, open a conversation, or reveal that you still need healing before moving forward. Do not demand that one person carry everything you have prayed for. That expectation can make you cling too quickly, overlook boundaries, or turn a helpful connection into an unhealthy dependence. Receive the peace honestly. Let people remain human. My beloved child, you may also be a carrier for someone else. Your experience may answer a question. Your work may reduce another person's burden. Your honesty may create safety where people have learned to hide. You do not have to be powerful or publicly known to carry something meaningful. Ananias was not the famous name in the story, but his obedience mattered. My beloved child, attention helps you notice carriers, but preparation helps you respond. If someone asks about your skill, can you explain it clearly? If an opportunity requires documents, are they organized? If a conversation opens a door, can you follow up with respect? If someone offers correction, can you listen without defending every weakness? Preparation turns possibility into a responsible next step. Do not wait for opportunity while refusing the ordinary work that prepares you. Keep learning, keep practicing, keep your commitments. Let your character support your gift. My beloved child, some carriers arrive through needs rather than offers. You may be expecting someone to hand you a position while the real opening appears as a problem that no one wants to handle. A family may need organization. A workplace may need honesty. A community may need someone who can listen. The need may reveal where your preparation can become service. Do not dismiss responsibility because it arrives wearing work clothes instead of celebration. Discernment remains necessary. A person may speak confidently and still be mistaken. An opportunity may sound spiritual and still be manipulative. An invitation may fit your desire while violating your values. Test what is carried. Does it agree with truth? Does it respect your boundaries? Does it allow responsible questions? Does it produce clarity or confusion? Does it require secrecy, haste, flattery, or the abandonment of people you are responsible for? A healthy carrier does not need to control your fear. They can explain what is being offered. They can accept that you may need time. My beloved child, do not confuse urgency with importance. Some opportunities have real deadlines, but false pressure tries to make examination feel like disobedience. Ask for details. Read the agreement. Understand the cost. Consult someone qualified when money, law, health, or major responsibility is involved. Prayer does not replace careful review. It steadies you while you review. My beloved child, carriers may appear in forms you once rejected because they look too ordinary. The person may be younger than expected. The advice may come without an impressive title. The opportunity may begin smaller than your dream. Do not measure value only by appearance. Remember the servant girl who told Naaman about the prophet in Israel. She held no public authority, yet her simple words pointed him toward help. The message was larger than the messenger's status. My beloved child, humility keeps you teachable enough to receive useful truth from unexpected places. But humility is not gullibility. You can listen without surrendering judgment. You can receive advice without making another person your authority over every decision. You can appreciate a connection without forcing it to become permanent. Healthy carriers do not replace my presence, scripture, wisdom, or your responsibility. They become part of discernment. My beloved child, sometimes the carrier will bring correction rather than comfort. A trusted person may tell you that your preparation is incomplete. A mentor may show you that your work needs improvement. A friend may notice that excitement is making you ignore risk. Do not reject every difficult word as opposition. Ask whether it is specific, honest, and supported by fruit. Correction that protects you may be part of the help you requested. You also need patience. A conversation may be meaningful without producing an immediate result. An introduction may lead nowhere. A promising opportunity may close after careful review. Do not turn every beginning into a prophecy. Receive what is real, learn what it teaches, and release what does not continue. My beloved child, assigned carriers are not proof that you can stop participating in your own life. You still answer, prepare, ask, choose, and accept responsibility for your decisions. The carrier may bring a map, but you must decide whether the road is wise. The carrier may open a door, but you must examine what is inside. The carrier may carry encouragement, but you must continue the work after the conversation ends. My beloved child, remain available without becoming anxious. You do not need to scan every face or treat every notification as a possible breakthrough. Return to your responsibilities today. Let your life remain open, organized, and honest. When a meaningful conversation appears, be present. When a useful connection forms, respond with gratitude. When a need matches your preparation, consider whether service is yours to offer. When something feels unclear, give it time. This is watchfulness without obsession. Write, "I will notice," without forcing in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you to remain attentive, prepared, humble, and discerning. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how to let the final mile belong to me, so you can release the burden of controlling outcomes without abandoning the faithful work that still belongs in your hands. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you how people, conversations, needs, and opportunities can become carriers of meaningful change. Now I want to speak to the place where your responsibility ends and where trust must begin. You have carried much of this journey with your own hands. You have learned, prepared, corrected mistakes, guarded your attention, strengthened your boundaries, and remained present when leaving would have been easier. But there comes a point when effort becomes control. My beloved child, the final mile is the distance you cannot force through greater pressure. It is the part that depends on timing, other people, changing circumstances, and outcomes beyond your authority. You can prepare for a conversation, but you cannot control the other person's answer. You can submit the application, but you cannot command the decision. You can offer honest work, but you cannot force recognition. You can repair your part of a relationship, but you cannot make another person become ready. Surrender does not mean that you stop caring. It means that you stop carrying what was never placed inside your control. My beloved child, you are often exhausted because you are trying to be both the worker and the outcome. You plant the seed, then dig it up repeatedly to see whether roots have formed. You send the message, then replay every possible response. You take one faithful step, then demand to see the entire road. It creates strain. Remember Israel standing before the sea. Behind them was an army. Before them was water. Their fear was not imaginary. Moses told them to stand firm and witness what they could not produce by human strength. My beloved child, standing firm did not mean denying the danger. It meant refusing to let panic scatter them before the next instruction came. Then they were told to move forward when the path opened. Notice the order. First, stop reacting from fear. Then respond when direction becomes clear. There are moments to stand. There are moments to move. Trust helps you recognize the difference without trying to create the path yourself. My beloved child, giving me the final mile does not mean expecting me to complete work you refuse to begin. You cannot avoid preparation, honesty, repair, or responsibility and call that surrender. You still make the call that belongs to you. You still finish the work. You still ask the question. You still seek qualified counsel when the decision involves health, money, law, safety, or serious responsibility. Faithfulness handles what is present. Remember the people of Israel walking around Jericho. They followed a strange instruction with discipline, but they did not tear the wall down with their hands. Their responsibility was formation, obedience, and patience. The result was not theirs to manufacture. My beloved child, you may be standing before a wall that does not respond to your effort. You have explained yourself, prepared, prayed, and acted honestly, yet nothing seems to move. Ask whether there is still a responsible step you have avoided. If there is, take it. If there is not, stop striking the wall with your exhausted mind. Wait without making the silence mean that you are forgotten. Silence may simply mean that the answer is not yours to command. My beloved child, this is difficult because control often feels like protection. If you keep analyzing, checking, and planning, you believe disappointment cannot surprise you. If you imagine every possible failure, you believe you will be prepared for pain. But constant anticipation does not protect your peace. It makes you experience suffering many times before anything has happened. Release the imaginary conversations. Release the timelines you created without enough information. Release the belief that your worth depends on a particular outcome arriving in a particular way. You can hope deeply without making one result your identity. My beloved child, there is also a difference between surrender and passivity. Passivity says, nothing is my responsibility. Surrender says, I will do my part without pretending that my part is everything. Passivity avoids effort. Surrender releases control after effort has become honest. Passivity refuses to learn. Surrender remains teachable while accepting uncertainty. This distinction will protect you from using spiritual language to avoid practical action. My beloved child, consider Elijah beside the brook. He stayed where he had been directed, and ravens brought food for a season. Yet when the brook dried, he did not accuse himself of failure or remain beside empty water forever. A new instruction came, and he moved. The brook had served its purpose. Trust did not chain him to yesterday's provision. It kept him attentive to today's direction. You must remain open in the same way. Let the final mile belong to me, but do not decide in advance what the destination must look like. The answer may come through continuation. It may come through adjustment. It may come through a door opening. It may come through a clear ending that releases you toward something healthier. My beloved child, surrender leaves room for truth to surprise you. It says, I prefer this outcome, but I will not betray wisdom to force it. It says, I have prepared, and I am willing to receive correction. It says, I will remain hopeful, but I will not call every delay a promise. It says, I trust your presence, even when the path changes. This is stronger than anxious certainty. My beloved child, there may be people around you who do not understand why you are no longer forcing the situation. They may call your peace weakness. They may believe that if you wanted the result badly enough, you would push harder. Do not let another person's anxiety become your assignment. There are times when more effort is wise. There are also times when more effort only repeats what has already been done. Ask what fruit the effort is producing. Does it create clarity? Does it honor boundaries? Does it strengthen preparation? Or does it keep you trapped in obsession? My beloved child, the final mile belongs to me, because you cannot see every route, every heart, or every consequence. You have limited information, and that is not a moral failure. You are human. Your task is to remain honest at your present point. Keep your work ready. Keep your heart open. Keep your boundaries clear. Keep your mind grounded in truth. Then allow time, facts, people, and circumstances to reveal what comes next. Let your shoulders come down. Breathe without rehearsing the outcome. Return to the ordinary life in front of you. Cook the meal. Answer the message that belongs to today. Complete the task you can actually finish. Spend time with people you love. Write "I release what I cannot control" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that surrender is not giving up. It is giving back the burden that never belonged in your hands. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how to restore clarity at the watchtower so your mind can remain peaceful, alert, and ready without becoming consumed by what might happen next. My beloved child, in the last part, I asked you to release what you cannot control and let the final mile rest in my hands. Now I want to help you restore clarity at the watchtower, because surrender is difficult when your mind remains crowded, exhausted, and afraid. You do not need more noise. You need light. You have been watching every movement, checking every possibility, and trying to interpret every silence. Your mind has stayed on duty long after your body asked for rest. Even when nothing was happening, you remained braced as though the next message might decide your whole future. My beloved child, a watchtower filled with fog cannot see the road clearly. The fog may come from exhaustion. It may come from grief, disappointment, stress, poor sleep, constant comparison, or too many voices competing for authority inside you. This does not mean you are spiritually weak. It means you need care. Clarity is not created by forcing yourself to think harder. Sometimes it returns when you stop demanding an answer from a tired mind. Begin with rest. Sleep does not solve every problem, but a rested body can examine a problem more honestly. Hunger, pain, and exhaustion can make a small uncertainty feel like an emergency. They can make correction sound like rejection, and delay sound like abandonment. My beloved child, care for the body that carries your calling. Eat what strengthens you. Drink water, move gently, step outside, allow your breathing to slow. If physical symptoms, anxiety, depression, or mental fog continue, speak with a doctor, counselor, or qualified professional. Receiving support is not a failure of faith. It is an act of stewardship. You are not required to turn every health concern into a spiritual mystery. The watchtower also needs quiet. You have heard too many opinions from people who do not know the full story. One voice tells you to leave immediately, another tells you to stay forever. Someone else promises that a dramatic change is about to happen. My beloved child, repeated confidence does not make a voice trustworthy. Step away from constant commentary. Do not search for confirmation until you find someone who agrees with your fear or desire. Silence the stream of advice long enough to hear what remains when the emotional pressure settles. Remember Jesus rising early and going to a quiet place to pray. People were searching for him. Needs were real. Yet he did not allow every demand to determine his direction. He returned to communion before returning to activity. My beloved child, do the same. Bring your uncertainty to me without rehearsing the answer you want. Tell me where you are afraid. Tell me what you hope will happen. Tell me what you do not understand. Then become quiet. Prayer is not only speaking, it is also becoming honest enough to listen. Open Scripture without trying to force one sentence into a private prediction. Read the larger passage. Notice my character, the responsibilities being taught, and the kind of fruit the words produce. My beloved child, truth will not need manipulation to support it. The watchtower also becomes clear through writing. Put the situation on paper. Separate facts from fears. Write what has actually happened. Write what you are assuming. Write what you can control. Write what belongs to another person. Write what decision must be made now and what can wait. Confusion often feels powerful because everything remains mixed together. Clarity begins when each part receives its proper name. My beloved child, you may discover that you are trying to answer a question that has not yet been asked. You may be solving a future conversation, preparing for a rejection that has not occurred, or mourning an opportunity that has not closed. Return to what is real today. What is the next responsible action? What information is missing? who has earned the right to advise you. What would patience look like for the next day? Small questions can protect you from large imaginary battles. You also need wise community. A watchman who refuses every other perspective can become trapped inside his own interpretation. Choose people who are calm enough to tell you the truth without feeding panic. My beloved child, trustworthy counsel does not flatter your preferred conclusion. It asks questions. It considers safety, evidence, responsibility, and long-term fruit. It respects your freedom while helping you see what emotion may be hiding. Speak with someone who knows your history, not only the current crisis. If the decision involves law, finances, health abuse, or serious risk, seek qualified professional guidance. Wisdom often arrives through people who understand the details. Clarity also requires boundaries around information. Do not let every notification enter the watchtower. Choose times to check messages, news, or updates. Turn off what keeps your body in constant alert. Stop returning to content that makes you feel desperate, inferior, or certain that every ordinary event is a sign. My beloved child, your attention is a gate. What enters repeatedly shapes what you expect. Feed your mind with what strengthens truth, patience, responsibility, compassion, and courage. This does not mean avoiding difficult facts. It means facing facts without surrounding them with unnecessary fear. There is another danger at the watchtower: suspicion. After disappointment, you may begin treating every person as a threat and every opportunity as a trap. You call it discernment, but beneath it is the fear of being hurt again. My beloved child, discernment remains open while examining. Suspicion closes before listening. Discernment asks for evidence. Suspicion assumes guilt. Discernment allows trust to grow slowly. Suspicion believes distance is the only safety. Do not let past betrayal blind you to present integrity. You can protect yourself without becoming unreachable. You can ask questions without accusing. You can wait before trusting without refusing every connection. Clarity is not certainty. You may still have unanswered questions after resting, praying, writing, and seeking counsel. A clear mind can admit that. It can say, "I do not know yet." It can say, "I need more time." It can say, "This opportunity appears healthy, but I will move carefully." My beloved child, uncertainty does not require panic. Your task is not to see the entire road from the tower. Your task is to see enough to respond faithfully to what is nearest. Let peace return gradually. Let your body learn that it does not have to remain on alert every hour. Return to ordinary work. Enjoy a meal. Speak with someone you love. Complete one task. The watchtower becomes clearer when your whole life is not reduced to waiting for one outcome. You are allowed to regain clarity slowly. A steady mind is not rushed into conclusions simply because silence feels uncomfortable. Write, "My mind is becoming clear and peaceful," in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that clarity grows through rest, truth, prayer, care, and wise support. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you the 4 marks of a trustworthy carrier, so you can recognize what fits your preparation, carries peace beneath pressure, grows stronger in quiet, and honors the values you were called to protect. My beloved child, in the last part, I showed you how clarity returns when you care for your body, quiet the noise, pray honestly, examine the facts, and invite wise support. Now I want to teach you 4 marks that can help you recognize a trustworthy carrier. The first mark is this: it fits your preparation. A true carrier does not only flatter your appetite, it connects with what has been formed in you through experience, discipline, healing, and service. The opportunity may still stretch you, but something about the moment will meet skills, lessons, and responsibilities that have already been developing beneath the surface. My beloved child, pay attention to that connection. Perhaps someone asks for the very kind of help you have learned to give. Perhaps a conversation opens around a subject you have studied for years. Perhaps a responsibility appears that requires patience, honesty, or courage that hardship has already strengthened within you. Remember David before he faced Goliath. He did not arrive with no preparation. He had protected sheep in lonely fields. He had learned courage, attention, and responsibility where no crowd could praise him. The battlefield revealed what the hidden field had formed. My beloved child, a counterfeit opportunity often skips preparation and speaks directly to hunger. It promises status without service influence, without character or reward, without responsibility. It tells you that desire is enough. A trustworthy carrier respects the process that made you ready. The second mark is peace beneath pressure. Some opportunities include real urgency. A door may not remain open forever, but beneath the pressure there is room to breathe. You can ask questions, you can read the details, you can seek counsel, you can pray without being punished for slowing down. My beloved child, peace does not mean the absence of nervousness. New responsibility may make your heart beat faster. Courage often moves while uncertainty remains. Peace is the deeper steadiness that allows you to think, tell the truth, and remain yourself. Counterfeit pressure behaves differently. It says decide before you understand. It makes questions feel disloyal. It threatens loss, shame, or rejection if you do not respond immediately. It needs your fear because the offer may not survive clear examination. My beloved child, remember Abigail when she learned that danger was moving toward her household because of Nabal's foolishness. She acted quickly, but she did not act blindly. She gathered what was needed, approached David with humility, and spoke with wisdom. There was urgency, but there was also clarity. Healthy urgency can still carry wisdom. The third mark is that the opportunity grows stronger in quiet. A true carrier does not need constant excitement to remain meaningful. When you step away from the first emotional reaction, the opportunity becomes clearer rather than thinner. You can bring it into prayer. You can sleep before answering. You can examine scripture facts, timing, responsibilities, and possible consequences. The more honestly you look, the more solid the right questions become. My beloved child, a counterfeit often survives only in noise. It needs repeated promises, dramatic language, secrecy, and emotional intensity. When you step away, the excitement fades and confusion appears. You realize that important details were missing, the claims were exaggerated, or the relationship depended on constant reassurance. Do not be afraid of quiet. Anything healthy should be able to stand in a room where no one is selling it to you. Remember Mary when the shepherds spoke about what they had seen. Scripture says she kept these things and considered them in her heart. She did not need to announce a conclusion before understanding the moment. My beloved child, reflection protects you from turning every meaningful experience into a prediction. Let the opportunity sit in the light. Let the person show consistency. Let the fruit become visible over time. The fourth mark is that a true carrier honors the post and values you have been called to protect. It does not require you to become dishonest, cruel, secretive, reckless, or disconnected from every healthy responsibility. It may require change. It may ask you to leave a role, adjust a plan, learn a new skill, or enter unfamiliar territory. But it will not require betrayal of truth. My beloved child, any opportunity that demands you, ignore safety, abandon integrity, misuse people, hide essential facts, or violate healthy boundaries has already revealed something important. A carrier that serves meaningful change does not need you to destroy your character in order to receive what it offers. Remember Ruth entering the field of Boaz. The opportunity met her while she was working, caring for Naomi and acting with humility. Boaz offered protection and access without demanding that she surrender her dignity. The connection honored responsibility. My beloved child, healthy carriers do not always make life easier, but they do make faithful action possible. They may ask more from you. They may expose where you still need growth. They may require difficult conversations, but they will not ask you to call harm obedience or confusion faith. Bring the four marks together. Does it fit your preparation? Is there peace beneath the pressure? Does it grow clearer in quiet? Does it honor the values and responsibilities you must protect? These questions are not a formula that guarantees perfect decisions. Human situations can remain complicated. A good opportunity may contain risk. A sincere person may still make mistakes. The marks give you a framework, not control. My beloved child, use the framework with humility. Do not reject something only because it is unfamiliar. Do not accept something only because it feels exciting. Do not assume that peace means ease or that difficulty means the door is wrong. Look at the whole picture. Consider character, consider timing, consider cost. Consider the effect on your health, family, integrity, and responsibilities. Seek professional guidance when the decision involves money, law, health, safety, or commitments you do not fully understand. My beloved child, trust is not built in one dramatic moment. Let people show consistency. Let agreements become clear. Let actions support words. Let time reveal what first impressions cannot. A true carrier does not need to be perfect, but honesty, accountability, respect, and healthy fruit should become easier to see as the relationship or opportunity develops. You may also discover that something useful arrives through a carrier who is not meant to remain forever. A conversation may give direction. A teacher may prepare you for one season. A connection may open one responsible step and then end. Receive the gift without forcing the person into a permanent role. My beloved child, remain grateful without becoming dependent. Remain hopeful without surrendering discernment. Remain open without leaving the gate unguarded. You are learning how to recognize what deserves a response and what should be allowed to pass. Write "I will test every knock with wisdom" in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you to examine preparation, peace, quiet, and integrity before you open the gate. Stay close, my beloved child. In the next part, I will show you how to hold your post on the days when fatigue becomes a roar, comparison becomes painful, and standing faithfully feels almost impossible. My beloved child, in the last part I showed you how to test every knock with wisdom, patience, and truth. Now I want to meet you on the days when standing faithfully feels almost impossible, when fatigue becomes louder than hope, and the exit reflex returns with a voice you can barely ignore. There will be days like that. Days when your body feels heavy before morning has fully begun. Days when the work you once carried with purpose feels empty. Days when comparison arrives before prayer and makes every other life look easier than your own. My beloved child, do not measure your whole journey by the condition of one exhausted day. Tiredness speaks in extremes. It says nothing is changing. It says you have always been alone. It says every sacrifice was wasted, and every future day will feel exactly like this one. But exhaustion is not a reliable prophet. It can describe how you feel without accurately describing where you are. Remember Elijah after the fire fell on Mount Carmel. He had stood with courage before a nation, yet soon afterward he ran into the wilderness, sat beneath a tree, and wanted the journey to end. My beloved child, his exhaustion did not erase his calling, and my first response was not a lecture. I gave him rest. I gave him food. I allowed his body to recover before speaking about the road ahead. Let that correct the harshness you use against yourself. You are allowed to be tired at your post. You are allowed to admit that you need help. You are allowed to step back from noise, sleep, eat, cry, pray, and receive care. Rest is not betrayal. Rest can be part of remaining faithful. My beloved child, if you are physically or emotionally depleted, reduce the size of the assignment. Do not solve the entire season today. Answer one message. Complete one honest task. Prepare one meal. Take one walk. Ask one trusted person for support. A small act of faithfulness on an impossible day still matters. The watchman does not prove courage by refusing water. He protects the post by staying well enough to see clearly. My beloved child, comparison will also become louder on difficult days. You will notice people who moved faster, received more, or appear happier after making choices you did not make. Their progress may be real, but you still do not know the whole story. You do not know their support, their cost, their private struggles, or whether the life you see from a distance would be healthy for you. Do not compare their visible movement with your hidden formation. Imagine two fields in winter. From the road, both look empty. One farmer becomes impatient and tears up the soil, convinced that nothing is alive beneath it. The other waits, checks the ground, protects the seed, and trusts the season without pretending to control it. For months, the fields look the same. Then spring reveals what winter concealed. My beloved child, you may feel behind because your growth is underground. That does not mean every field must be preserved forever. Some soil is damaged. Some methods need correction. Some seasons truly end. But do not destroy healthy roots only because another field became green sooner. Examine the soil, look for life, seek counsel, then respond to what is true, not to what comparison has made painful. There will also be days when my silence feels unbearable. You pray, but no answer becomes clear. You ask for direction, yet the room remains quiet. The absence of certainty begins to feel like abandonment. My beloved child, silence is not proof that you have been forgotten, but I will not ask you to pretend that every silence guarantees a breakthrough. Sometimes silence means you must wait. Sometimes it means you need more information. Sometimes it means no new instruction has been given, and the last honest responsibility still stands. Return to what is already clear. Tell the truth. Protect safety. Honor your commitments. Care for your body. Seek wisdom. Do not invent an answer because waiting feels uncomfortable. My beloved child, when the silence continues, let Scripture give you language instead of speculation. The Psalms do not hide confusion. They contain questions, grief, fear, remembrance, and renewed trust. You can speak to me that honestly. You can say that you feel forgotten without deciding that you are forgotten. You can say that you are angry without making anger your guide. You can say that you do not understand and still remain near. Honest prayer keeps the relationship open when certainty is absent. My beloved child, impossible days also awaken the desire to make one dramatic change so you can feel movement again. You may want to end the relationship, quit the work, move away, spend recklessly, or send the message that cannot be taken back. Pause. When safety allows, delay irreversible decisions until your body and mind are steadier. Write the decision down. List the facts. Name what happened today and what belongs to an older wound. Speak with someone who is calm enough not to feed the urgency. The goal is not to prevent every change. The goal is to stop pain from making the decision alone. My beloved child, if the place is dangerous, seek safety. If there is abuse, threats, coercion, or serious harm, standing your post does not mean remaining exposed. Your true post may be truth, dignity, responsibility, and protection. Sometimes holding that post requires leaving a physical location. Do not use this message to imprison yourself. Use it to resist impulsive escape while still honoring clear evidence and healthy boundaries. My beloved child, remember that courage on impossible days often looks ordinary. It looks like returning after you missed a step. It looks like apologizing instead of disappearing. It looks like resting before resentment controls your words. It looks like admitting that you need professional support. It looks like continuing one practice that keeps your heart open to truth. You do not have to feel powerful to act faithfully. On those days, let your definition of success become smaller. Success may mean staying safe, keeping one promise, refusing one harmful impulse, or asking for help before isolation deepens. These choices protect tomorrow while honoring the limits of today. You only need enough willingness for the next step. When the exit reflex roars, answer it gently. Say, I hear that I am tired. Say, I will care for what hurts. Say, I will not make a permanent decision from a temporary collapse. Say, I will examine the fruit when I am clear enough to see it. My beloved child, some days the victory is not moving forward. It is refusing to destroy what can be examined tomorrow. Write, I will remain honest on hard days in the comments as your declaration today. Let those words remind you that fatigue deserves care, comparison deserves truth, and silence does not require panic. Stay close, my beloved child. In the final part, I will gather every lesson from this journey and help you declare that you are planted awake, discerning, and ready to continue without fear controlling your steps. My beloved child, in the last part I met you on the days when fatigue became a roar, comparison became painful, and silence made standing feel almost impossible. Now I want to gather every lesson from this journey and place it back into your hands. You are not stranded. You are planted. You are not frozen. You are learning how to remain present long enough to hear truth clearly. At the beginning, you felt an urgent pull to leave. You wondered whether the delay meant you had misunderstood everything. You saw other people moving, changing, receiving, and beginning again while your life seemed still. My beloved child, now you know that restlessness must be examined before it is obeyed. You learned that doubt can arrive late after you have already survived the hardest part. You learned that your environment can echo escape because your attention is searching for relief. You learned that beneath all the noise there may still be a quiet knowing that asks you not to act from panic. You also remembered why you chose the unusual path. It was not only because you wanted recognition. Beneath the early dreams was a desire to become useful, honest, healing, and faithful. The path changed you. It exposed pride, fear, impatience, and the need to be understood. It also formed compassion, discipline, humility, and endurance. My beloved child, your roots were building while the surface looked still. They learned to find water in dry seasons and hold the ground when wind arrived. They were building the strength needed to carry responsibility without losing peace. You learned that waiting and arrival can feel similar. Both can be quiet. Both can contain uncertainty. But preparation asks you to keep growing while arrival begins to connect what has formed in you with needs, conversations, responsibilities, and opportunities around you. You learned that your location matters. Not only your physical address, but the place where your faithfulness can be found. The task you still complete, the boundary you still protect, the promise you still honor, the work you continue to prepare. My beloved child, you learned to name the exit reflex. You recognized the urge to escape before you had rested, gathered facts, prayed, or sought wise counsel. You learned that leaving can be right when safety, truth, health, or integrity require it. But you also learned that impulsive escape should never become your guide. You released shame about the times you left too soon. You stopped calling yourself ruined because of one decision. You understood that regret can teach while shame only imprisons. You learned from Jonah that running does not have to become the final chapter. You learned from Peter that failure can lead to honesty, restoration, and responsibility. My beloved child, you understood why this instruction came now. You are stronger than before. You can hear stay without using it to trap yourself. You can hear move without using it to avoid discomfort. You can carry questions without turning them into panic. Joseph showed you that hidden faithfulness keeps a person ready. He served in the place he did not choose. He kept his gift alive in the dark. When a real need appeared, preparation and opportunity met. You learned that meaningful change often arrives through ordinary channels. A personne, a conversation, a problem, a recommendation, a responsibility. But you also learned not to call every knock a promise. My beloved child, you unmasked the three disguises of the exit reflex. False wisdom demanded movement before examination. Comparison made another person's visible life look more valuable than your hidden growth. Fatigue translated, I need rest into, I need out. You learned to pause, care for your body, and let wise counsel test the message. Then you stopped standing still and began standing guard. You learned that a watchman is not inactive. A watchman observes, prepares, protects, and responds. You guarded the gate through daily faithfulness. You guarded your declaration by speaking accurately instead of feeding despair. You guarded the watchtower by protecting your attention, your health, your clarity, and your ability to discern. My beloved child, you discovered that surrender does not mean passivity. You learned to do your part, release the outcome, and plant without digging up the seed every day. You learned to prepare without trying to command timing, people, or results. You restored clarity at the watchtower through rest, prayer, scripture, honest writing-wise, community, and professional support when needed. You learned that discernment is not suspicion. Discernment listens, checks, and responds to evidence. Suspicion closes before truth can speak. You also learned the 4 marks of a trustworthy carrier. It fits your preparation. There is peace beneath the pressure. It grows clearer in quiet. It honors the values and responsibilities you must protect. My beloved child, carry these marks with humility. They do not give you control over every outcome. They help you remain honest when something appears. Now let your body receive what your mind has learned. Drop your shoulders, release your jaw, breathe slowly. You do not have to carry everything tonight. Picture your life as a lamp beside a window. The night may still be dark, but the lamp is steady. You are not scanning the horizon in fear. You are awake enough to notice what approaches and peaceful enough to return when nothing requires action. Place your hand over your heart and say quietly, I am planted in truth, not trapped by fear. Say, I am awake, but I am not anxious. Say, I am open, but I am not careless. Say, I am willing to stay, and I am willing to move when wisdom becomes clear. My beloved child, this is readiness. Readiness is not knowing what will happen next. It is becoming the kind of person who can respond without abandoning truth, safety, compassion, or responsibility. I am not promising that every door will open, every person will return, or every prayer will be answered in the form you prefer. You do not have to walk through uncertainty alone. Remain near me. Remain teachable. Remain honest. When you are tired, rest. When you are confused, ask. When you are corrected, listen. When you are in danger, seek safety. When the next faithful step becomes clear, take it without pretending you control the whole journey. Write "I am planted and ready" in the comments as your final declaration today. Let those words mean that you will not run from temporary pressure, cling to harmful places, or force what has not become clear. If this message helped you, share it with someone close to making a permanent decision from temporary exhaustion. Subscribe and remain connected to a community that values scripture, discernment, rest, responsibility, and honest faith. My beloved child, you are not the same person who began this message. You have language for the pressure. You have a process for the decision. You have permission to rest. You have wisdom to test the knock. You have courage to remain present. Now return to the life before you. Guard the gate, guard the declaration, guard the watchtower. Stay calm, stay honest, stay ready. And when truth tells you to move, move with peace.